This is Danny Bobrow, President of AIM Dental Marketing, welcoming you to this installment of the Practice Perfection Web-Based Education Series. Today's presentation is entitled, Referrals Are the Lifeblood of Your Practice. Whether through dental plan write-offs or direct investment, practices spend considerable sums on their dental marketing plan. The reality is that no matter how well a new patient acquisition tactic performs for you, an automated and reliable method for increasing patient referrals is essential to leveraging the return on any external marketing tactic. The average patient converts just over a third of those actually referred into a kept appointment. That's why I'm thrilled to have Dr. Robert Barrick with us today. 4 years ago, Dr. Barrick was dining with an orthodontist when they commiserated about the state of the then available referral systems. This led, to make a long story short, this led to the birth of Referral Web. Boasting more than 500 users and 5,000 successful referrals, Referral Web is now the fastest growing dental referral system in use today. Today's presentation will share the key to increasing patient referrals by understanding what compels a patient to refer their friends and family, how to identify and practice the 5 small and simple things that send patients shouting your name from the rooftops, ways to increase referrals from other doctors and professionals, and how to implement the systems and techniques to turn any referral into an appointment. Now, before we get started, I want to remind you that Practice Perfection webcasts run for 90 minutes. While attendees are in listen-only mode, we invite you at any time to submit your questions or comments using the question button on your screen. We will allow time following the presentation to get your questions answered. If we do not get to your question during the webcast, we'll see that they're answered shortly thereafter. Attendance at this presentation allows you to receive 1.5 hours of continuing education credit. Shortly following the webcast, you will be emailed a brief survey with instructions on how to receive your CE. Participants are cautioned about the dangers of incorporating techniques and procedures into their practices if the course has not provided them with adequate clinical experience to allow them to perform it competently. And with that, it is my pleasure to welcome to the Practice Perfection stage, Dr. Rob Barrick. Hello, Rob.
Hey, Danny. How you doing?
I'm great. Excited.
Me too. All right. Well, thanks a lot, Danny. I really appreciate the introduction. And I'll just jump right into it. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, introduce myself. Kind of a honest disclaimer here. This is maybe 10 years younger, so I'm missing a little more hair and I'm a little fatter than this, but it gives you an idea what I look like. But I'm a general dentist for about 15 years, and I love dentistry. It's wonderful. But you know what's interesting, over the last 15 years, I've realized how much of an entrepreneur I am. I see problems and I want to solve them. Some of the things that I've been involved with have been, of course, Referral Web, Dental Network TV, Tom TV, writing children books, and co-founder of Sneak Tech, which is a up-and-coming great company as well. So basically, to coin Vanilla Ice, I'm a problem solver. If there's a problem, I'll solve it. Let go of the pain while Dr. Rob resolves it. At least that's what I hope. So this happened about, like you said, Danny, I think you said about 4 years ago, and actually I was thinking about it. It's turned quickly to 5, and so about 5 years ago. I'll tell you a little bit about that story. I went out to lunch with an orthodontist, and I asked him about a patient, Johnny, that I had referred to him. And he said something that kind of got me thinking about the referral process. He said, I don't know who you're talking about. And in fact, it's frustrating because about once a week I have a general dentist come up to me and ask me about a patient they had referred to me, and I don't have a clue who they are. I wish that I knew about them so I could reach out to them, and it's just really frustrating. And, I told him, I'm really frustrated as well. I didn't know that Johnny didn't make it to your practice. It was really important for him to come, and the fact that I don't really find out whether or not patients come to you until I get the final letter in the mail saying that you saw them and what happened. And so we started talking about all the problems with the communication methods, and we thought, in 2012 at the time, it shouldn't be happening this way. And so we set out on a journey to improve that. Now, before I get going any further, I just wanted to introduce a little bit more about me, and it'll kind of segue into set it up in my presentation. So this is my family. Actually, we have one more, 6 kids. So love every one of them. Have a great wife and a wonderful life. It's been a great journey so far. This was our house a year ago on the golf course, and I only bring it up because of the story that's transpired over the last 8 months. My family and house, everything was great. I had a great practice, thriving, doing good. Referral Web started taking off. People were jumping on, and before I knew it, I was kind of swamped with so much going on that I found a lot of the priorities that I needed in my life of my family were kind of being overshadowed, and so I decided to simplify and prioritize my life. And we had 250 acres of mountain property up on the mountain with a 1960s rundown shack that we decided we'd renovate. It's only 500 square feet, and my wife and I decided, heck man, let's sell the practice and jump in and focus on Referral Web and sell our house and just really simplify and really focus in our life. And so we ended up taking our family up to this little cabin, and 6 kids in a 500 square foot home. You can only imagine the difference from going from 6,000 square feet to 500. And it's been kind of funny, but a lot of people think of the Beverly Hillbillies when they hear our story, except in reverse. So instead of going from rags to riches, we kind of went from riches to rags on purpose in this transition in our lives. And it kind of, my wife and I had a lot of fun joking around with it. We decided to create a song about it. So here's the song. First, let me tell you about a man named Rob. Made lots of money, had a real cush job. Then one day he was feeling frustration and woke up in the night with a big revelation. Moved the family to the mountains, water from a well, living off the grid. Well, next thing you know, they're living in a shack, 500 square feet, chopping wood out back. 6 kids in the loft without Wi-Fi, Xbox detox, and they think they're gonna die. Well, next, his daughter gets attacked by a bear, finds his wife crying, pulling out her hair. Wouldn't you know it, the shed burns down, no power in the cabin, his wife's moving back to town. He talks her into staying and giving it some time. Wouldn't you know it, everything turned out fine. Moral of the story, don't give up on your dreams, 'cause life turns out, at least it's what it seems. So,
well, that's the first. Hey,
someone singing
bravo.
on your show?
That's the first time we've had a singing professor singing anything. I don't know. This could be a start of something big for us. Thanks, Rob.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Great.
Next time I'll bring in my guitar, Danny.
That's quite a story, too. Wow.
Yeah. Well, it all kind of culminated to a head right after my daughter got attacked by the bear. She's okay, by the way. And I was really proud of her. She's 15, and she backed that bear off the mountain. So that was I was really proud of her.
I just saw The Reverend. I don't know if anyone else has seen that, but there's a bear attack scene in there that
yeah,
you got to be pretty tough. I won't spoil it for anybody.
So, but then when our shed burned down, we were struggling with power. We had no more power because I was off a generator. I was sitting out in the meadow just kind of thinking and praying and just thinking about what I put my family into and what have I done. And one of those moments where you wonder if you made the right decision. And dentistry is a wonderful career, and it's hard to kind of take your focus away from that. But this is my daughter.
You're an inspiration, Rob. I can tell you, I'm going to use your story anytime my wife gets upset with me. I'll say, well, I could have done this to you.
That's right. That's right. There's worse out there. Believe me, I definitely hit the bar.
I'm just kidding you.
No, it's true. My wife's really great to support me in it. And but I was sitting on my ATV just kind of overlooking the meadow and just thinking about life and wondering what's going on. And my daughter Lily, she was 2.5. She crawled up onto my lap and looked at me, and I just had this moment where I realized that everything was going to be okay, and that really life's about people and it's about relationships, and that I didn't need to get too concerned about a lot of this stuff, that it'd work itself out, and it did, and it has, and it's been wonderful. But you know, I do this as a kind of a presentation to kind of set the stage of why we do what we do as dentists, specialists and general dentists. We're doing it, yeah, because it's good living and everything, but deep down we want to help people, and it's about people. I think about my father, who has Parkinson's disease, and he's being shipped around from one doctor's office to another, and I care about my dad. I love him very much, and it's hard for me to hear of how hard it is for him to, you know, go from one doctor to another, and the difficulties there. And even though it may seem kind of a small thing, it's a big deal to people that are involved. And so as I present this to you guys, I want you to think about that, about the way we care about our patients, whether or not we're a general dentist referring a patient, and or else whether or not they're a specialist bringing them in. So I'm going to first talk about doctor-to-doctor referrals and about the communication there, since that's kind of the focus of Referral Web. And then I'll get into getting referrals from patients. And keep in mind that the audience here is both general dentists and specialists. So some of the points that I bring out are going to be some things to have specialists think about, and also some things for general dentists to think about as well. So when we first got into our cabin, we obviously had our kids all staying up in this loft and on the couches, and we knew we couldn't get through the winter that way, so we wanted to add a couple of rooms on. And I decided that I was going to be the contractor. I was going to do it myself and just get the subs and have them do it. It's no big deal. It's just a couple of rooms, right? Well, what I found was that it takes a lot of responsibility to orchestrate all the different subcontractors in creating a good outcome in the end. And there was a point where I just wasn't doing a good job of orchestrating all of these people and all these things, and I had to move a really big tree out from behind my behind my cabin, and I didn't communicate well. And the next thing I find out is that a 15-year-old somehow thought it was his duty to cut that tree down. And no, he was 17, but he had this chainsaw going, and it was a 100-foot Ponderosa, and it was, if you can see the cut here, he had it cut where it was angled right where it was going to fall right down onto our cabin. And luckily the framer saw it, ran out, grabbed a rope, hooked it to his truck, and pulled it the right direction. But we almost had a huge catastrophe and a major issue because I didn't orchestrate it right. I didn't communicate well. And I bring that up to tie it into us as general dentists. We are the ones that are in charge of these patients, and a lot of times when we think that we're only in charge of them when they're within our office walls, but we are really in charge of our patients in their dental work even when they leave our office and when they go to specialists. We need to make sure that we are taking good care of them, that we're not just punting them out the door. I use that phrase because sometimes it feels that way, that, you know, we hand them a piece of paper and we punt them out the door as if it's like, well, good luck, you know, hope everything works out okay. And most of the time it does work out okay, but there's a lot of times it doesn't. So the question that I ask general dentists is, does my patient really matter even when they leave my practice? You know, do I care if they receive the treatment that I'm referring them to get? Do I care if it's a seamless and anxiety-free experience for them? Do I care if they have driving directions? Do I care if they know the specialist a little bit before they go in? Do I care if they have to explain their problem to the specialist? I mean, that's a big deal for the patient to have to walk in and try to explain their issue of a sinus lift or a Lefort or even an implant. Like, patients are expecting us to be communicating about that. Do I care that, you know, whether the patient has the right insurance or going to the right spot, or do I care if the specialist makes money. I do. I care about the specialists. I want them I refer people to them because I care about my patients, but I also care about the specialists, and I want them to be fruitful off of this as well. And, do I care about my own liability? And I'll bring up a reason why liability is an issue. So let's go ahead and, let's see, am I frozen? There we go. Okay, so let's talk about the different ways of referring. We have the paper referral forms, which most of us use. I'd say 80% of us still hand out paper cards to our patients. And that just seems to be kind of the easiest way. And it's going to take a little bit of time and effort to get away from that because there are issues with the paper referral forms that are solved with a great referring electronic referral system. And but they are coming from paper referral forms. Some of the other good methods that we use to refer are the phone call, and that's really great for making sure that our patients get to this specialist and get the work done. But the issue with the phone call is that after the initial appointment is created, we don't hear back. We don't know. We aren't file sharing. We aren't getting reports back. Anyway, the communication there ends. Email. Email is good. A lot of it's not HIPAA compliant. I'm sure most of you have already heard a lot about that, the importance of HIPAA compliant email. But we aren't sure if the person, the doctor on the other end, cares about our patient's security. So we may be doing all that we can to encrypt our emails and everything, but maybe they're not. The other thing is encrypting your email is really a pain in the butt, right? I mean, to open up the encrypted files and things. The other thing that's really difficult about email is it's unorganized. You don't know exactly where it's at and whatever happened to the email that was sent to me by this doctor, etc. And so you can get HIPAA compliant email. It's just, is it the best way? There's some reasons why I believe that there's better ways to do it. It's unorganized. It doesn't include the patient. There's no tracking, no status updates. Okay. There we go. Texting. So a lot of people find themselves texting important health information over texting, and it's not HIPAA compliant, and you need to be really careful about that, to not do that. Faxing. Some people still like faxing. There's a lot of studies out there talking about how much it costs for the fax and everything. But again, the fax just doesn't allow a lot of the cool things that you can do, and you should be getting with it, really, with better ways to communicate. So then there's the electronic referral systems. There's multiple referral systems out there that are electronic, and I can go through and find each one of them and find some really great things about them, and then some things that maybe we do better than them, or things that they may do better than us. But honestly, Referral Web, in my opinion, it's created by me. I'm a dentist and a couple of specialists. We really wanted it to be specific for dentistry. Some of the leading ones out there were kind of created for medical, and then kind of, by the way, we bring in dentistry, so it's not really specific to dentistry. So there are some things that I'll be showing you that will be you'll like about Referral Web. But overall, regardless if you use Referral Web or not, I would encourage you to find an electronic referral system that organizes things and that makes things better for your patients, better for your specialists, better for you as a general dentist, speaking to general dentists. So 95% of patients prefer Referral Web over paper referral cards. So that was just 100 referrals that went out. We asked them to let us know, do you like this better, getting a text message and information through your phone, better than getting a piece of paper? 95%, yeah. The 5% that didn't probably were older and just didn't get text messaging. So let me go through the problem. Let me start with typically what happens. So as a general dentist, we refer a patient with a paper card or email or something, and the patient walks out of our house with that piece of paper. And one of the things I wanted to bring up right here was there is a question of, do we give them multiple choices when we're referring, or do we refer to one specialist when we're referring a patient? Now there's different, the argument for giving them multiple choices is that you're giving the patient, you're not telling them exactly what to do, and you're leaving it up to them so they can't come back and say, hey, I didn't like Dr. Smith you sent me to, and it's your fault that things went wrong because you didn't give me choices. So that's the argument for that.
Sort of a hedging strategy,
on the other hand,
right?
Yeah. So the problem with that, though, Danny, is that we give them the choices. We have no idea who they choose, and we have no idea what ended up happening, and we can't follow up with them and make sure they got all the care taken or get them back. I mean, it just, by giving them the choices, it does not. There's a greater chance for them to come back with problems because we did not actually help them through the whole process. So that's my argument of, like, you know what, pick a specialist that you think would be good for them, recommend it to them, and be able to know whether or not, follow through, whether or not they actually got the care taken.
Yeah. And I completely agree with that. It's really a matter of understanding who's the best practitioner for the patient, and it may not be that the same specialist is always the one to recommend, but I think it's important to know the different criteria so that you can make an informed choice. And then I feel that it really shows commitment all the way around to refer and recommend one specialist. But I think part of what drives, because we've done some I guess what you could actually call anecdotal polling on this, and anywhere from I don't know, like up to a quarter of GPs tend to refer their patients to more than one specialist. And yeah, I think the reasons they do that, they vary, but I think they boil down to a lack of confidence, really. And I think a lot of it has to do with a lack of confidence that they're going to be kept in the loop. They rarely, I think, question the clinical expertise of the specialist,
right.
But there are other communications factors that could lead a person to understandably want to hedge their bets and refer more than one specialist. But I don't think it's the way to go either.
Yeah, well, and I get it. It's like I like all three of these orthodontists in my town, and I don't want to favor one or the other one, or et cetera. But really what we're doing is we're just handing the patient lots of options, and we're kind of washing our hands of it, saying, right, it's in your court now, and is that responsible of us to do that? It's still up to them. I found about the same, Danny. I found around 20 to 25% do that, but more and more people are starting to get to where they recommend one. And with the referral system, anytime you use something, when you improve the communication, you're going to be narrowing down who you're going to be communicating with. If I send out a referral through this referral form to 3 different doctors, they're all going to be contacting my patient, and my patient's going to be confused by having 3 specialists contact them or whatever. So anyway, if you want to improve the patient experience, you will choose a specialist that you think would be best for them and refer them to that one specialist, and certainly they have the choice to find somebody else. But this is a study that was done, 5,000 patients, excuse me, where 37% of the patients actually didn't follow through and schedule an appointment after they were referred. So that's a huge number of patients that didn't show up, and that kind of goes back to my what got me started with this, with the orthodontist, of wondering, how often does this happen? How many of these don't actually follow through and schedule an appointment? Well, come to find out, it's pretty much 40%. Now, we did our own internal study and found around 40% as well. Different specialties have different no-show or no schedule, no follow-through rate. Some of them you think would have a higher rate, such as endodontics. Like somebody has a toothache and needs a root canal, certainly they're going to be calling and scheduling that appointment more than, let's say, for braces, where it's not necessarily pain. But what's interesting is that endodontics ends up having a similar rate of non-follow-throughs and non-schedules as well, because we always give them antibiotics when they leave and pain medication. They walk out, they get it under control, and what happens? They come back to our office a month later, and I never went to the endodontist, and because it started feeling better. So anyway, this brings up this point here of why patients do not follow through. And there was a study done where it actually followed through and asked why those 40% why they did not go. And I thought there were going to be good reasons, that the reasons why they didn't go. And really it was that they were too busy and didn't get around to it. And then number two was they waited long enough, the symptoms kind of went away. And we all know that, what does that really mean? There's still a problem there. They'll just be back into our office later. And then the third one was financial. And so a lot of them just really weren't necessarily great reasons. They just kind of didn't think about it, and it wasn't a big priority to them. I think about the last time I got referred to go get my blood drawn. I was motivated when I left the doctor's office to get it done, but I walked home and put my little piece of paper on my desk, and you know, the car breaks down and I got to run somebody to the baseball game, and a few days pass and I'm like, I lose the card. And it wasn't, if I would have received a phone call right when I left the doctor's office saying, hey, would like to welcome you to get your blood drawn and let's schedule an appointment, I would have done it right then. And so that's the problem that we have with the paper referring method. So the patient ends up being worse off. A lot of times we get the blame for it, and then litigation. And now when we bring in litigation, you know, it's rare, but there is cases. There was one a couple years ago where a patient was referred to an oral surgeon to have some teeth removed, and there was they had a big infection, and they didn't follow the general dentist just gave them a piece of paper, sent them on their way like they typically do. Good luck to you. Well, he didn't go, and he ended up dying because of the infection. And the family came back to the general dentist and said, how come you didn't refer him to a specialist? I did. I gave him a card. Well, where's the proof? Well, I gave it to him. Well, how come you didn't do more to try to help him get his care taken care of? So there are times when it is good to have something like this that actually tracks that you did all that you could. You know, certainly we can't do everything, but it is, litigation is an issue sometimes. And then 45% of referring doctors never hear back from specialists. And when we do, it's the snail mail, it's the piece of paper in the mail saying, hey, your patient's done, and thanks a lot, this is what we want you to do, or this is what needs to happen. Typically it gets scanned into the computer, left on our desk, put somewhere, we don't see it. It's just not a really good method of communication. So the problems for the patient with this method is unreliability with the cards. We don't know, they get lost. With Referral Web, it sends them a text message and an email making sure that they have driving directions, information to get to the office. A piece of paper, it's unreliable. Duplicate radiographs, so the patient is going in, and not just money, they don't just have to pay, you know, they're not just concerned about money, but they're getting a lot of radiation they shouldn't be getting. And problems for the general dentist is, what happened to my patient? And, you know, when they come back to us, it does make us look unprofessional when they think, you know, you kind of just kicked me out of here, and I thought you were going to talk to the specialist about what was going on. So problems for the specialist is they look unprofessional. How many times, for you specialists that are listening in, how many times do you see that every day when the patient comes in and hands you a piece of paper with nothing written on it, and you ask them, hey, so why are you here? And they have to try to explain something to you. It just makes you look really unprofessional, because I promise you the patients are looking at you like, what? You mean Dr. Barrick didn't call you and talk to you about this? Sometimes it's not a big deal, but you know what? It does look unprofessional. And then the biggest thing for specialists is the 40% of referrals that are lost that they have no clue exist out there, because they don't even know that the referral was sent. They didn't until they walk through the door. So here's Referral Web, and this is how it works. When you send a referral through Referral Web, it notifies the specialist. Oops. It notifies the specialist as well as the patient about each other. And so what happens is they can reach out and welcome, the specialist can reach out and welcome the patient in. The patient gets text message with driving directions, information, and bio about the specialist, which is also really good. And I'll talk about this a little bit later, but think about it. If you just get a piece of paper, what happens now is that the patient goes home, and what's the first thing they do before they go to Dr. Smith? They go and Google Dr. Smith, the oral surgeon. They want to learn about Dr. Smith. So what happens when they Google Dr. Smith? Well, they see all of Dr. Smith's competitors in the area, and they start looking at all the competitors and looking at their sites and comparing and looking at the reviews of everybody. Wouldn't it be great is if the text message came to the patient about Dr. Smith, it showed his picture, it showed driving directions, it showed his bio and reviews, and it gave him no reason to go onto the web to try to find another specialist. So this is the case study that we did. 3 doctors send out 200 referrals, and half of them using paper cards, half of them using Referral Web. The half with paper cards, 59% scheduled an appointment. So the 41% that did not, the specialist had no clue that they even existed. With Referral Web, 76% scheduled an appointment, and they knew about 100% of those referrals came in. And even the 25% that still decided not to come in, there's a couple of things that are really nice about that, though. The specialist knows that Dr. Barrick referred somebody, and even though they didn't come in, I can still say, thank you, Dr. Barrick. He chose not to come in. But thank you very much, and I really appreciate that. Whereas before, I don't even know that they didn't show up. And not to mention those 25%, you can continue to drip on them over time and just reach out to them every once in a while. But the reason why this 17% actually occurs, the increase, is not only is that we're creating a better and easier way for the patient to get to the specialist and to make the phone call, but the specialists, we encourage all the specialists to call within 1 hour of getting a referral. So it's really important. A lot of office managers or receptionists feel like, oh man, we don't want to ram this down their throat. We don't want to be too aggressive. But that's the wrong way of thinking. It's all about the way you say it. If you just call up the patient and say, hi, Susie, how you doing? This is so-and-so from Dr. Smith's office, and we understand you were referred to us, and we wanted to welcome you to our practice. Who's going to get upset about that? Nobody's going to get upset about that. Would you like to schedule an appointment? Well, no, I don't know. I'm going to put that off a little bit. I don't have the money for the implant. Well, okay, well, that sounds good. Well, we do have some options, and we'd love to have you just for a free consultation. So can you see how it just provides an opportunity for dialogue? That's why you get 17% of the people coming in where you normally wouldn't.
And I agree with you, Rob. There's no downside to it, to reaching out. You know, people are not quite as thin-skinned, or, I mean, we're all being bombarded by marketing messages. That's true. But when a medical or health professional follows up, the response is it's a pleasant surprise. It's not a disappointment or a irritation.
Yeah, like leave me alone. No, yeah, they appreciate
Right.
it. They really do.
Yep.
And especially if you're calling with a smile on your face and really care about them.
Right.
You know.
But I think the key too is that there has to be this blend of automation with that, so that otherwise it's just too time consuming, and it's also hit and miss. It's not a consistently applied discipline. And I'm
Absolutely.
sure you'll get to that.
Yeah, the importance of a system. Absolutely. So I just recently sent out a survey and had 93 oral surgeon office managers take this, and these are great oral surgeons and practices. The JAWS Society is a great society where these are great offices, and I really appreciated them filling out the survey, but we got really good results, and I wanted to share these with you because it was kind of telling from a specialist point of view what's probably typical out there for most specialists and what's happening in their practice. So I asked them, first of all, how important are referrals to your practice? So all of them here, 100% of them put it up there, 8, 9, and 10. Most of them said it's 10 out of 10 important for their practice. I mean, so important. Some specialties like orthodontics or pedo rely a little more on, or a lot more on, patient referrals. But most specialists really rely on referrals from doctors, and it's really important to them. But by the end of the 10-question survey, I asked them, what's your overall feeling about your referral system? Because I asked them a bunch of questions about the referral system, and what I found is that 33% agreed that they needed a lot of improvement, and 45% said they needed to improve on a few things to make it better. So a lot of them realized, wait a minute, maybe we aren't doing it as good as we thought we were. I asked them how many referrals they received a day, and on on average between those offices, and each of those offices have multiple doctors in it, so it's probably hundreds of doctors. The average was 7 referrals per day per doctor. So if you think about the 40% referral loss, think about this. Okay, so you get on average, you get 7 referrals a day per doctor. What in reality is they're getting 12 referrals a day, but they only are seeing 7 of them. So what's the significance of that? You know, if you're getting $2,000 on average per case, that's over $10,000 a day that you just have no clue even exist. And so that's a big problem. A lot of people are like, you'll see a lot of marketers come knocking on specialist doors saying you need to start marketing more, you need to start giving out more cookies, you need to start doing this and that. When in reality, if they just improved the way that they got referrals, they'd see a significant increase of patient satisfaction as well as revenue. Do you know about every referral sent to your office? And here 63% don't know about every referral until they show up. So the far majority of specialists do not know about referrals until they show up, which proves the point that most of them are sending, general dentists are sending a paper. And so if they don't know about everybody, they have 0% chance of capturing those patients. So with Referral Web, we had that 17% increase, which basically the 17% increase was dropping that 40% in half. And so, you know, the difference is every day a couple of more people getting into your office. That's thousands of dollars, $6,000 on this example here. What is that total a year? Every day, $6,000, it's over $1 million. And I know you can't see that many more patients, but this just drives home the point of the importance of knowing about your patients that are referred to you as specialists and reaching out to them. Do you reach out to your patients to welcome them into your practice? Only 33% of specialists actually reach out and call the patients and welcome them into their practice. And so, you know, there's 2 things I'm really hoping to the specialists that are listening to this. First of all, you need to know about every referral that's being referred to you. And second of all, you need to reach out and welcome them within an hour, and you should see similar type of response of increase there. Now, a lot of them have referral forms already. Many general dentists out there that are listening, you've probably been invited to use different types, you know, use this referral form on our site and do this and that. A lot of them have referral things on their site, but very seldom do they have people actually use them. And why do general dentists typically not use your referral form that you've provided on your website? First of all, it's hard to find. Keep in mind that as a general dentist, I refer to 2 to 3 specialists per specialty. So, I mean, you're looking up around 15 doctors that I'm referring to, and if each one of them have their own little, you know, go to my website, click this button, there's a drop-down list, click this thing, it'll pop up a referral form. It's not easy. It's hard to find. It's hard to fill out. A lot of these forms that you're seeing for the specialists, when you analyze your forms, you're an oral surgeon, so you're thinking doctor, right? You're thinking it's got to be this big, long, complicated form that has every single possibility that might arise, and it's overwhelming when you look at your referral forms. They're too hard to fill out. And the other thing is it doesn't involve the patient in it at all. It's just sending over a piece of paper, and it's not integrated. It's not integrated to their software. It's not integrated to Dentrix or EagleSoft, so it makes it more difficult. And so the bottom line is it's not easy. So I wanted to actually at this point jump out here and show you our referral form, just so when I talk about ease, this is what you're looking for. Whether or not you use this or not, you're looking for something really simple. You want the basics. You want enough to basically get them to know about the patient, to know about all their information that they need, but also just, you know, what teeth and what it is that they need to have done. And then you need to get into sharing files. So here is where I'm going to just send a mock referral to myself. And just put in my cell phone number. I'm going to just pick Aflac as the insurance provider, and I'm going to send this to Dr. Referral Web. So this just says, I'll still bill the insurance, but I'm not a provider at this time. This is the locations. Many specialists have different locations, so I'm going to pick the one here. It's important that the patient and the specialist both know about each other appropriately. I choose primary teeth or permanent teeth. I'm going to just, right here, this is customizable for Dr. Referral Web. So Dr. Referral Web will have all the things that he typically gets referred for, and I just have right here, please schedule a demo, and I'll just put in some notes. I upload a file from my site. Now, right now, I talked about being integrated, and I'm going to get into something really exciting down in the near future about our integration with your practice management softwares, which will make adding these images just a lot better and a lot easier for you. But right now it's just like an email, uploading an image from an email. So I'm waiting for that to upload. And then this right here says the doctor who has ordered this referral has verified it to be correct, and I'm going to send that. So immediately what I get right here is my phone just right now just dings, and I get a message saying, hey, Rob, we just referred you to Referral Web, Dr. Referral Web, here's his information. And I'll show you kind of what they get when they follow the link. Let me open this up. So when the patient follows it, they get introduced to the doctor. That you see it's kind of like a profile on Facebook. You get to see the reviews, information about them. You get to dial down and get driving directions, etc. So I'm going to go back and show you what the specialist gets. The specialist gets an email notifying them that they got a referral from Dr. Barrick, and they click on it, and they'll come here where it will be highlighted green, and they can click on it and see exactly what the referral was. They can open up the image and download it, and then they can also send some progress notes back to the general dentist saying, I called your patient, they're not interested this time, or we left a message, or we scheduled an appointment, and the patient's coming in. The nice thing about this for being a general dentist is that I get to see exactly what patients, the progress of them. How many times have you guys seen a patient that you've referred 5 months ago to get implants done, and you're like, what the heck happened to John and his work? Here you can just go and look here on the dashboard and be able to see exactly what happened to all of your patients. So I'm going to come over here. Every time that you update anything, it will let the other doctor know. So you're not playing phone tag. You just get notified. Oh, okay, they changed the status. Now I know Rob Barrick has the status of set. Now you have analytics as well, where you can see all of the patients that you've sent out and the status of all those patients here, the ones that appointments have been set, all of the different things. A lot of times when we call and we call and they don't recognize our phone number, so you leave a message. So this allows you to drill down and actually see all those you've left messages to and reach out to them again, allowing you guys to get that 17% increase in referrals. The other thing you get to see is I get to see all the people that I refer patients to, and I also get to see all the doctors I sent to and all the doctors I've received from, and it sets them into a priority of numbers. So I'm going to go back now to Danny. Did you have any questions about that referral form at all?
Maybe just a comment or a request for clarification. It sounds like you're also, just based on that dashboard, that you're putting yourself in a position to gain intelligence about ultimately maybe which specialist you ought to refer to, and based on other metrics, which ones you maybe are going to be less comfortable referring. So you kind of learn who are your best go-to people based on the feedback you're getting from the system.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I'm glad you brought that out. All the ones that, honestly, specialists that don't reply, that don't even look at the referral I sent to them, that don't tell me what's going on, it's like they don't care, right? I mean, they don't care to let me know that they received it, and they appreciate it. So
either they don't care or they're just not organized enough to get to it. But I mean, you're really handing them some pretty powerful tools to make them look good as well. So if they're not willing to take it, then at least you learn something.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump back. Thank you. I'm going to jump back here. And we talked about making it easy. One of the things that we allow the specialist to provide general dentists is the easy button. And it's just a button that's kind of fun. You plug it in and it glows blue, and when you want to send a referral, you click it and it brings up the referral form. You don't have to have the button to bring up the referral form. It's just kind of it helps remind the general dentist. It can have your logo on it, and it reminds them that you provided this to them for free. It's free to general dentists, and it's just helping make it easy for them. And then most other of our competitors don't send information to the patient, and that's one thing that we really shine with, is that we send that text message and information to the patient. And other ones, it's just kind of a sharing documents between doctor to doctor. But when you include the patient and help them with the experience as well, that's really great. And then this one right here, it talks about, is your online referral form integrated with yours and the referring doctor's practice management software? Most of them said there's no integration. Some said there's a couple, and then there's a couple of that said the referral forms are integrated with both. I'm not familiar with any other referral systems that have a lot of integration to it. 95% of general dentists agree that referrals need to be improved, and 90% of general dentists said that they would try a new system if invited by a trusted specialist. So when you're thinking as a specialist, you know, should I invite my general dentist to use this? Most of them are knowing that there needs to be a better system, and they appreciate you giving them an option. Okay, so what I want to do is talk a little bit about integration with Weave, or integration with Dentrix, EagleSoft, WinOMS, whatever system that you guys are on for your practice management. The neat thing and what we're really super excited about, and what I want, this is kind of the first time I've presented this to people, and because it's still a month or two away, but we're really close, and we're really excited about it. And it's with Weave. We're going to be joining up with Weave, and they're going to provide us with some really cool stuff. And so I'll get into how the referring system is going to be improved, and also a little bit about Weave and why we chose Weave to integrate with. So the biggest thing that's really great that Weave helps offer for us is they're integrated with a number of different softwares out there, and I actually have a list I'll show you, but they already are integrated with them. And so we're basically plugging in and piggybacking off of them because they're a communication platform as well. They are probably, well, in my opinion, the premier telecommunication platform out there through the internet. And they basically take your phone system and turn it into a smartphone because it's integrated with your practice management software. When Sally calls you, you know it's Sally, you see her picture pop up, you know all the information that you know that her kids need cleanings, and I'll show you a little bit about that. But Weave is about patient to doctor communication on the phone primarily, and Referral Web is about doctor to doctor communication, which includes the patient in. So we thought that would be a really great synergy to come together and weave together. And so it's still, we are offering together kind of a free little platform app to help with the referring. So let's give an example here. So let's say you have the Weave little button here, and you click it on your dashboard, and you select which person in your front desk, or Rob. I'm going to click Rob is the employee that I'm going to open up this with. And then I'm going to come over here to the refer button. There's a lot of different things that this app will provide you, and I'll show you the refer button here. So it brings up a search of my patients where I can click on that. It will show the information about the patient, and then we just walk through and add the images and send the referral, and then it just goes right into sending the referral to the patient, etc. So we're really excited about the opportunity to make it really easy. One of the cool things that will come with sharing the patient information is that it will share with you not only what insurance they're on, but it also tells you how much insurance has already been used, how much is left. It gives you all the information that you need. So a lot of specialists are sending out these pieces of forms for them to fill out before they come in. With this, it will provide much of that information where the patients won't really have to fill out very much when they come in and sign some papers because it will transfer the data. And we're really excited about that. So let me tell you a little bit more about Weave. I'm just going to go around and read these things. I kind of talked to you how it takes your phone and turns it into a smartphone. But one of the cool things is the two-way texting. Honestly, I think that that's one of the favorite things that my staff really likes is the two-way texting. How many times do patients answer the phone when they don't recognize the phone number? More and more they just respond to text. And a lot of the systems out there, oh yeah, we have a system that texts, we don't need Weave. Well, the system that you have that texts them, it doesn't allow back and forth texting and communication. It's more like, you know, are you going to come to your appointment? Check yes or no. And this allows you to communicate back and forth with each other. So we love that about it. Instant patient data. I love the fact that I can get that instant patient data on my phone. On my, I have this app for my phone, and it allows me to see all my patient data. I can pull up the patients wherever I'm at, whether I'm in Hawaii or whatever I know. And I also can see my schedule on my phone. And I love that as well. I can see what's going to happen tomorrow and who's coming in and learn more about it. Practice management system sync, call recording, call tasks, appointment reminders, telephone service, reports, and then the mobile app. And they're continuing to increase and improve and bringing in more functions like Referral Web to make it even better than that. So as an example, you know, right here, this is the schedule that I like to access on the phone. And then this is the two-way texting that happens right on your desktop with your patients. So anyway, Weave, a wonderful company. They're growing fast. They grew really fast and had to move over to a new server. And so there was some growing pains a year or so ago, and they are doing awesome now. They haven't had one problem since they've moved to the new system. And anyway, in 2016, I asked my staff, I said, what is the biggest game changer that has made the best difference for you in 2016? And hands down, they said it was Weave. It's really a wonderful software, and they love it, and they're just improving every day. So Dan, I'm not sure if you knew much about Weave. Did you have any questions about Weave that I might be able to answer?
You know, I'm learning about Weave. I've met them, our paths have crossed, and I've been speaking with Monroe over there. He's a consummate professional, and they're supporting our philanthropic efforts to climb for a cause. I guess I might just use this as an opportunity to plug my our 20th annual Climb for a Cause event, which is going to be in Provo, right down the street from their headquarters. But I'm actually scheduled to talk to Monroe because I've heard very good things about it. I've seen it demonstrated. As with any startup or technology, there's some bugs to iron out, and I know that they've successfully addressed many of them. But it's marketing intelligence at its finest. My understanding, prior to hearing about you and the integration with your system, is that they indeed are integrated with all the major practice management systems. And when somebody calls the office, your screen, your team member's screen is populated with all the information. If the caller is a current patient,
yeah,
it's a wonderful tool, make you look professional. And you compare that with other practices who are asking their patients to look into their own insurance situations, and just it's just a real image changer. It gives such a perception of quality. So no, I've done no direct work with it, but that's going to soon change, and I'm as excited as you are about being able to work with them.
Well, thank you. I mean, you're absolutely right. There's two things that I like to ask people that struggle with change with referrals, and it's the same thing with Weave. I ask them, I say, you know what, when they say, oh, you know what, we really like the way we refer right now. It's comfortable. We hand a piece of paper to them and it works for us. I ask them, do you really think that in a couple of years you're going to still be using paper? And patients are going to not expect a text message? And every time, 100%, they're like, no, obviously It's the future. It's the way we communicate. And I'm like, well, what the heck are you waiting for? Let's do it, you know? And it's the same with Weave, with telephones. With why use telephones, the old telephones that all you do is talk to people, when you can actually have so much functionality out of it, and it can actually become like a smartphone. We would never go back to just dialing on a phone in our personal lives. The cell phone is, the smartphone has changed our life, and so Weave will change your practice because of those things. Now this right here is the practice management systems that Weave actually is integrated with. You can see many of these, well, just a ton of them, and some of them are in beta, some of them are growing. I know they're still working with DSN to try to make that work really soon here. And so we have a lot of integrations that they have already, and they're committed to continuing to integrate with other systems that you may have that's not on this list. So yeah, don't let this stop you from learning more about Weave. So I wanted to bring up this as a general dentist. You know, right now we have over 15 specialists that we refer to, and each one of them kind of have their own special little referral form, and it can kind of be difficult to know and manage. It would be great if they all had one, or you used one system for all of them. One form, one location for all your referrals, easy to find, patient involvement, status updates, file sharing, and it's free for the general dentist. Well, one of the things that we have implemented is this structure. Most people, how Referral Web usually gets introduced is a specialist signs on and buys it, and then ends up inviting all of his free doctors, referring doctors, and that's free for them. But occasionally a general dentist is like, you know what, I'm not going to sit around and wait for a specialist to invite me to do a better way of referring for my patients. I want to do this. I want to sign up for Referral Web. So what we've allowed them to do is each of the specialists get one practice for free. So if this general dentist invites all of their network to use it, then basically this general dentist is able to use it, and their entire network is able to use it for free. Now, if this particular endodontist really enjoys it and likes it, and he wants to invite the rest of their patients, then he can pay for it and invite them to do it as well. So that's kind of the way that's set up. Now, Danny, how much time do I have left? I know before I keep going.
You've got a good half hour.
Oh, okay, good.
Well, I mean, we have a good half hour. We need some time
okay.
for some housekeeping and question and answer, so I'll shut up and let you continue.
Yeah. Well, I hope this has been informative for everybody so far. I'm going to switch gears a little bit and just talk about the value of referrals in general, and it can be applied to patients and to like patient referrals and doctor referrals. But I'm going to kind of talk about my experience with referrals from patients. So a general dentist, this is kind of a message for you guys on how to increase your referrals and what they're looking for from referrals. So how do you decide the value of referrals? So you take the average cost for the referral, and or how much you made from the referral, and you minus how much it costs to get that referral, and that gives you the value of your referral. So as an example, I received, this information was in 2014, I received 135 referred patients, and my average was $1,300 per patient that year. And so I minus how much it costs for me to do that with referrals. I just was a good dentist, right? And so the value of those referrals for me that year was $174,000. So you take the value of marketing for me that year, and you know, I feel like I'm not saying I'm the best marketer. I did some things that I think were great. I put my ads around in the restaurants on the videos up above for them to see while they're eating. I did a ton of pay-per-clicks online. I steered clear of radio and paper ads and stuff like that. But I mean, there was still the ads that I did, I think was pretty the marketing I did was pretty typical for an average doctor, and I spent around $2,000 a month. And you know, I only knew that I got 12 patients from them. We ask every person that comes in, every new patient, how did you find us? And we only had 12 that actually wrote down you know, from online or for something, and you know, that's horrible, right, all year long. And so I'm not saying I did it right, but I'm just saying many of you might be like that, where you're spending a lot of money on marketing, but you only get a couple of patients from it. So what was the value for me? A negative $11,000 per referral, and it just didn't make sense to me. So obviously referrals are valuable, right? Referrals are really important to each one of us. And another thing is, my best patients always refer my best patients. Usually if a patient's good, they're responsible, they come on time, they pay their bills, and they actually have, they can afford treatment, then the friends that they hang around with, the family, the people that they refer are usually the same way. So the quality of the patient is exponentially better than marketing. Marketing, you're typically bringing them in because they want that free bleach deal or something. And so referrals just are better quality of patient as well. So patient referrals, they come as a good lead from a patient, typically word of mouth, and usually multiple recommendations. Most patients don't come in to a doctor just because they heard your name once. They usually hear it over and over and over again, and they decide, you know what, I like Dr. Rob, I think I'm going to do it. And that was 54% of my new patients came from other patient referrals. So the question is for you is, if referrals are really important for your practice, is it just chance, or can there be calculated and controlled referral system that can really help bring in your referrals a lot better? Most of us just think, you know what, c'est la vie, I guess. If I get referrals this month, then fantastic, but I have no way to actually help that or control it. But there is. You need to have a referral system. Now, why do we create systems? Systems establish protocol, establish engines that perform like clockwork. They're predictable results. They decrease time, energy, and resources from busy doctors. So if you don't have a referral system in place for getting patients referrals, then, you know, I recommend that you kind of think about some of the things I'm going to present and sit down with your staff and kind of put together a little system. It's not just something that you'll try once. I mean, it's something you need to actually establish. Okay, so increasing patients. The first thing you need to ask yourself is, are you referable? So you're a good doctor. Patients, you know, you're on time, you're gentle, you're friendly, you're fair with them. You're a good doctor. Well, guess what? Patients don't talk about good doctors. Why? Because you're doing exactly what they expect you to do. They wouldn't be coming to you if they thought you were a bad doctor. They think you're a good doctor and you are performing the way you should. And so maybe in a conversation where people say, hey, who are you going to go to? Who do you go to? They'll say, oh, yeah, go to Dr. Barrick. He's a good doctor. But they don't go shout your name from the rooftops if you're good, right? It's the little things that make a big, big difference, that make them really want to talk about you. And so certainly if you're not on time, you're not gentle, you're not friendly or fair, of course, it's really easy for them to, a lot easier for them to complain about you. But I'm going to talk about these small things that will make a big difference in letting patients talk about you. So let's talk about some small things that make a big impact. These are silly things, right? Sunglasses. Well, you would not believe how many patients are like, oh my word, thank you. This is the first time anybody's given me sunglasses. I normally just squint the whole time, you know. Sunglasses are a good thing for me, a little thing. Vaseline. Wow. I can't believe more general dentists don't put on Vaseline on the patient's lips. They're in a hurry. They get in there, they just start going, you know, we're pulling their lips. When was the last time you as a doctor had work done on you and your lips were dry and they're yanking on it? It's not fun, and it's just a simple thing that other doctors just don't do. They don't apply Vaseline. That's another small thing. Bite rests. Oh man, you can keep your mouth open. It's not hurting me any, you know. Well, guess what? You know, when I get in the chair and I'm trying to keep my mouth open for an entire root canal or whatever, it's a long time, and I'd like to have the option to have a bite rest. Don't force it on them, but ask them, would you like, this is for you. Would you like to rest your jaw? Oh my word, I get that tons. Those of you who use bite rests, you see it too. The patients are like, thank you. I love that. That's great. an intraoral camera, and this goes along with a little thing such as actually showing them the problem. How many times have you gone in to get your car done and they lift up the hood and like, okay, that's $3,000, and we just have to trust what they're saying, and it's kind of hard. We really appreciate the people that take the time in to show us the crack in this filter, or show us the air filters or whatever. And so using an intraoral camera to show the crack in the tooth, oh my word, that is a small thing that they think, oh my word, you guys are just so advanced in your technology, and it's amazing. Another thing that I hear a lot is the TV in the ceiling. Oh my word, you got a TV in the ceiling, and maybe that's not as big of a deal now because it's probably but when I first started, it was, everybody thought we were the best dentists on the block because we had TVs in the ceiling. But it's the small things that make a big difference to the patients. I provide a pillow for them as well for their neck. And then the last thing is follow-ups. I think the follow-up is one of the things that makes the, oh, there's my pillow. My patient made that for me, leopard skin, it's great. But the follow-up, it's really easy to do. After the day's over, my assistants, they leave this on my desk. I circle the ones that I specifically would like to have a phone call the next day. And the really ones that I really want to reach out to, I do a personal phone call. And some doctors do the phone calls themselves. You know, I don't go that far on every one of them, but I do circle the ones that I feel like they would appreciate a phone call. And I have the gal up front call them and just say, hey, Dr. Rob was wondering how you're doing. And if you get a personal phone call from a doctor, wow, it's so rare, and it means a lot to them. And they shout your name from the rooftops. And these things that I've shown you are small and simple things, and I'm sure you have your own, but maybe I gave you a couple ideas to improve and do some more things to help them refer.
Well, I think you have, Rob. And I think that the general observation is that sometimes we get so routinized in our own behavior that we lose the perspective of the people we serve. A perfect example of this is a lot of dentists, they have a private parking space in the back of their practice. And for the last 30 years, they drive there and they go in through the back way. They don't even know what the patient experience is or their perception of the practice as they drive past or walk in. So every once in a while, it's nice to call yourself, ask to be placed on hold to hear what patients are hearing when they call your office, or to walk through the front door, or to get some dental work every once in a while, and see how nice sunglasses and a little Vaseline, how far they can go. It is the little things that really make the difference, because the clinical side, most patients are fairly unaware of. They don't appreciate those clinical differences as much. It's how they're treated. You know, a warm towel goes farther than a close margin, I guess you could say.
You know, you're absolutely right, and I think each one of us know of, you know, we see people shouting somebody's name from the rooftops when we know we've seen their clinical work and we know that it's really, really bad. And you're like, oh my word, I cannot believe they're promoting this doctor. But why is that doctor getting promoted? Obviously, they don't have a clue that they have really crappy dental work in their mouth. They know that this doctor was really nice to them, you know, and treated them really well. So that is what they're looking for when they're wanting to refer. The other thing is show your work. Now, this is elongated, so I don't want you to think that's my work. But anyway, it's good to show your before and afters. It's important, especially when you're doing something like cosmetics. Everybody says they're a cosmetic dentist. But boy, what a difference when you can actually show your before and afters and have the patients get that confidence and say, oh, you know what, my teeth kind of look like that. You know, I have those chips in the front, and that's really, he made that guy look really good. So showing your work is a huge way to get people to not only get the work done in your office, but also to refer other people. I actually have, when they're sitting up, I have this screen up that just shows my before and afters, and it just is going back and forth showing all of them. And I recommend this for you guys to have in their leisure time. They're learning about you. Put it on your social media sites as well. So here you are, you know, you're doing great, you're above the bar, you're doing super. There's one more thing the most important thing that I really want you guys to think about when you're getting referrals from patients, and this is to ask. Now, it's really difficult. It's hard. It's kind of uncomfortable to ask somebody, will you refer someone to me? Because it's kind of putting yourself out there a little bit, and there's usually not a real easy way to kind of get into that flow of how you ask them. So I developed something that really works well, and it's post-op instructions. These post-op cards are awesome. I have them for my main ones, like for restorative or crown and bridge, root canals. And then I pull this out after they're done with the crown, and I just go, okay, number one, avoid chewing until your numbness is completely worn off. And I go through this a little bit with them, and then I flip it over to the other side, and I say, by the way, it's just really natural. It brings it right in. I just say, by the way, I really appreciate referrals, and I'd appreciate you if you would refer your friends and family to me. It would mean a lot to me. And I hand them this card and send them on their way. So I bring this up. You'll notice here $100 of dental credit after they come in. And so let's talk about that just for a second. You don't have to put in any incentive there. Just asking them alone makes a huge difference. And in fact, I stopped asking for, putting this on my cards just because I, have looked into, this was kind of an older one from a couple of years ago. Some states, you need to be careful because some states are really stricter than others on what you offer for incentives for referrals. And so most states say that you can give somebody a thank you, like a movie pass or something to say thank you, but you shouldn't advertise and lead with something like this in order to get them. Now, it's one thing, the reason why I was feeling like, okay, this is okay, I was just doing this for my own patients. It's another thing to go out there, online or publicly and start saying, hey, I'm going to give $100 for referrals come in. There's ethical boundaries, there's things there that you need to be consider. There is a study that I found that 60% of the doctors that were, I can't remember how many answered the survey, but it was significant, and I wish I had it to actually tell you guys, but it says 60% actually did provide thank yous or incentives for referrals. So even though it's kind of taboo, it's kind of a question of is it over the line of whether or not we add incentives or not, 60% of doctors do it. It just depends on whether or not they find out after they referred them that they say thank you, or did they advertise with it. So I just put that little blurb in there. You guys decide what you want to do. It is effective, I will say that, and you can decide whether or not. Go ahead.
I guess the question is, do you want to get permission or forgiveness?
Right, yeah. Exactly.
And I think that as a practical matter that I'm not a legal professional either, but I've been working with thousands of dentists for millions of years now, for 28 years, and I've not heard anybody that's received any sanctions or anything very serious. No. Even for ads that didn't comply directly with the Dental Practice Act for a particular state, the most they've ever been asked to do was to stop, to cease and desist. Right. Now, if you just printed 1 million direct mail pieces and you're told to cease and desist, that can sting. But online and in this quantities, I think it is just a risk return kind of a thing.
Sure. Especially
if you can look in the mirror and say, I'm not doing anything that's unethical here.
Right. No, and you're right.
Sleep at night.
And the fact is most people, they want to refer you. Most of my patients, when they're walking out of the door, they want to refer me. It's just this gives them that extra little something to think about it next time.
I will share something else real briefly. That's I'm a big follower of a PhD named Robert Cialdini out of well, he's a UFC grad, but he professor out of I think Arizona State. And he talks about influence at work, principles of persuasion. He talks about gifts in particular, and he talks about a number of different criteria that make gifts more or less valuable. And one criterion that he cites as an important factor is that gifts are even more perceived as more valuable when they're unexpected. And what we'll typically do is somebody refers somebody, we send them a gift thanking them. So it's not so much a quid pro quo or even a negotiation as, thanks very much. They'll refer to you because they're excited about their experience and they want to share the good news with their friends, family, and coworkers. So when they do that, you send them the gift. And for one thing, I don't know if that's even more acceptable. I do
That is
agree
more
that
acceptable.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
and certainly not
you're right.
not advertising it. You know, if you do it internally, for one
No,
thing,
yeah, that's great.
it's not as conspicuous
Mhm.
and everything else.
Well, you know what, you're right, Danny, and that brings me to my next point is that when you do get a referral, you want to thank them, and you need to thank them with something great, you know, so that they'll do it again. And a personal phone call is awesome. Thank you. I wanted to call you and thank you for sending your family in. Also, sending them movie tickets, whatever, is wonderful as well. But I just wanted to go back and just reiterate, a post-op card, it's really easy to ask them. We're talking about asking the patient to refer to you. It's hard to do it out of nowhere. Hey, by the way, will you refer to me? It's easy when it's just you're reading from the card, you flip it over, oh, by the way, hey, please refer your friends and family. I appreciate it. And then
One last thing
you can have
from
this,
me.
yeah, you
I'm
can
sorry.
have this, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Rob. I just wanted to say that doctors should just get over the perception or the self-talk that if I'm asking for referrals, I'm perceived as desperate, or I remind people that I'm a businessman or a businesswoman. Get over that for your own good, because that's not what people think. They know that you're in business, and they're flattered when you communicate with them on that level.
Yeah, I've never had anybody be like, dude, what are you asking me this for?
Right.
They appreciate it. And they're like, and every time I'm like, of course. And, you know, and then you provide them a nice QRL. We do, with Referral Web, we do have an online form for patients that you can, when they click this or whatever, they can get to from your website. It will have a referral form that will actually notify you when the patient referred somebody to you, and it puts it on your dashboard as well. So it not only is for doctor-to-doctor referral, but it allows patient referrals as well. And again, you have a lot of referrals that are getting sent out from patients that you have no clue about. It would be nice to know when they are referred so you can reach out to those people as well. So I want to talk about increasing referrals from doctors. So general dentists, you may think, okay, this is for specialists only, but I want you to think about specialists do refer to general dentists, and you can make yourself referable to specialists, and you can actually do some things to increase referrals from specialists. First of all, you need to be competent and skilled at what you do. And in order to do this, to show other doctors that you're competent and skilled, you need to show your work. And there we go. I took this little book around to all of the doctors in town, the specialists, and even the plastic surgeons and different people, and said, I just want you to see my work, see what I do, and so they get confidence in you. The other thing is lunch and learns. I just, a couple of years ago, I was sent into one endodontist, and then another endodontist came and did a lunch and learn and really provided me with a lot of great information. I developed a little bit of relationship with him, and I ended up going and changing to him. The second thing is meaningful relationships. You need to have a meaningful relationship with those that are referring to you. And it takes time, and it takes sincerity, and it takes service. As a specialist, I really appreciate the guys who every once in a while I get in a jam, and you know, they don't ream me out or make me feel bad. They tell me, hey, you know what, let me help you. As much as the specialist wants to ream me out and tell me you're an idiot for trying that, you know, they hold their tongue, and I guess I don't provide so many of those mishaps that they feel like they obligated to tell me about it, but occasionally something happens, and I appreciate them taking the patient in. You know, there was one that I did that, you know, they didn't charge me. They said, let me take care of it. Another one that they're like, it's really expensive. If you could just pay for the materials. You know, it was just really meant a lot to me, and it deepened our relationship with them. Number three, do I care? Does the specialist care about my patients? It's really important that we get feedback that things are really good versus I put this in there just because I had a patient that I referred to an endodontist, and she's like started crying. And I said, well, what's wrong? And she's like, I went to him before, and oh my word, it was the worst time of my life, and it was really difficult. So we need to know that they care about our patients. And with Referral Web, after their first visit, 24 hours after, it asks for a survey asking how the patient's experience was. Now, it's not just for crying patients. Those are very rare. but it really, the specialist spends a lot of time making sure that our patients are treated well, and it's really great for them to know that those patients are giving their 5 stars back to the general dentist saying, hey, the specialist was awesome. So it does provide, Referral Web does provide a way for the patients to report back that the specialist is doing great for them. Number 4 is you need to communicate effectively. It's really important. Communication is the 3rd reason why general dentists stop referring to specialists. So it's one of the top 3 reasons. If you aren't communicating well, they might switch. They aren't satisfied. You need to be top of the doctor's mind, and education's number 1, and certainly the goodie bags is that. And then the last one again is asking. You know, I had a specialist take me out on a golf trip and take me golfing, but after it was over, he shook my hand and looked me in the eyes and said, I really appreciate your referrals, and will you continue to send referrals to me? And he just flat out asked me, and I said, you bet. And so asking really makes a big difference. And then after you've done all these things to try to bring the referrals in, you need to capture every referral sent. So that kind of ties us back around with Referral Web. You do all of these things, and you're only getting 60% of the referrals that you work so hard to get. So it's really important for you to be able to capture all the referrals that have been sent to your office. Marketing, you know, this is a great way for you to market as well for specialists, be able to put your logo and go in with this button and provide the service for free. And we do a lot of, we do all the onboarding. All we ask is that your office manager call and let the general dentist know that you're going to be providing this to them, and then we call and we actually walk them through some videos, and we sign them up, and we do all that, and it's just a really great onboarding process. For Referral Web, there's no contract. It's unlimited referring offices, and so we come to the offer page. We haven't talked about price, so let me just move on down to that. Oh, so why would you want to do it? Instead of getting 14,000 right now, know about all 24,000 that should be coming in every day, capture 20,000. That's basically what it does. You know, it's only $100 a month. That's the webinar offer right now. It's typically $125 a month. But if you guys, you know, mention this webinar for your demo and get signed up, it's only $100 a month per location for you and your specialty, and it's free for all of the referring offices as well. So that's it for me. I guess I just close by saying let's think of our patients more as general dentists. Let's think about their experience. Let's care about them even when they leave our office. And for specialists, let's provide a better way for referrals to come into our office, and that we can know about every single referral and have a chance of capturing them and increase our revenue and increase the patient experience. All right, that's it, Danny.
All right, buddy, that's more than enough. Thank you very much. Very succinct, clear, concise, and I think exciting also. I've known about you for a while, so it wasn't news to me, although the integration with Weave is an exciting development, and I'm sure our attendees feel likewise. Let's jump to some questions here. The first one is, what practice management programs will Referral Web be integrated with?
Okay, so yeah, that's a good question. I'm going to go ahead and come back up here and review that again. We have that list, but if you're a general dentist, most of yours will be included. So if you look at this, you got Dentrix, EagleSoft, Open Dental, PracticeWork, Practice Web. Most of the ortho we have, and we're starting to get into a lot of the oral surgery as well, and some of those are just down the road. So if you don't find that list here, or you have a question, let me know. Let us know, and we'd like to look into whether or not we'd like to put that next on our list. Yeah. That's a good question.
Well, I mean, I would have to ask or suspect that list has got to comprise 90% of the practitioners. I know you've got some specialist softwares in there too, which is really cool. Another follow-up question was, what about Curve? Do you have any plans to integrate with Curve?
With Curve, I'm not sure I can talk with them. I know that some of the online referral forms are a little more difficult to integrate with, but I personally would like to see them integrate with Curve. And so that's a good question. I'll talk to them and see. Right now, Curve's not on the list, and I don't know why, if it's like really difficult or if, but I do know that it has enough of a following to really pursue that. So
yeah,
we'll look into that.
Cool. They did grow quickly because I think I just learned about, well, at my age, when I say 5 years ago, it's 10 years ago, but
Yeah.
I remember just being introduced to them within the last 5 to 10 years, which, you know, it's not a long time. What functions will the integration, this new integration, improve? What functions of your existing service?
Okay, so right now, I think that the data sharing is the biggest issue that's going to be, this is going to be done in phases, by the way. So the first phase is going to be the patient, when they fill out the patient form, the general dentist, it will populate the entire patient form, and when we actually send it over, it will include all the patient information, like their insurance information and their personal information, contact information. So it takes a lot of the effort out of actually filling out the form. It just does it automatically. The second phase will actually be this right here with the imaging, the attaching images, which is huge. I think that's
huge.
Right now, it's just like email. You know, you have to export then import,
yeah.
and
it's HIPAA compliant, which is cool and key.
And it's HIPAA compliant. It's really seamless. Yeah, we are looking into the functionality of actually being able to see the specialist's calendar and being able to kind of get an idea of openings. I've had some different feedback from that because certainly, you know, they don't want you messing around with their schedule. But the one thought that I had was that if the specialist practice had like a specific hour on every Thursday or whatever that was open, and we could see that it was open for free consultations, that'd be somewhere we could look into that. But we would have the ability to directly make an appointment on the specialists, you know, to see at least see their schedule book.
Can you customize case-by-case basis as you develop that? I imagine you could talk to a given specialist and just say, you know, do you want to leave some open slots, or let us know what we can put in there for you?
So that's one of the ideas that we still aren't sure it's going to be there. So we're just going to look. We just want this to be super easy. And, you know, when I go to the movies, it's nice to just pick my seats and be done with it. You know, we kind of get automated like that. And so if you could do that with your appointments, man, that would be awesome. You would get 100% of them set up, and if you would open up your schedule to the offices referring. So
I'm curious to know, do you need to purchase Weave in addition to Referral Web for this integration to take place?
Oh, that's good. That's a good question. So no, Weave is offering this app portion for no cost to just be able to use it for referring, and then they're going to be opening up for a couple of months for you to play around with all the other features, the texting, and all the things that Weave offers. And you know, it's just an opportunity for these offices that have it on their desktop to get familiar with Weave, and to, we have a really high conversion of people that test it out and actually integrate it. Because think about it, you're already paying a couple $100 for your phone system, and all it is improving your phone. You're switching phone bills, and suddenly you've got a smartphone. And so most people convert over to Weave. It's just an opportunity for people to play around with it, but it is free. You don't have to sign up with Weave in order to have this app. And again, it's going to be a couple of months before this is out and rolling. But we wanted to kind of just start introducing it to people that it's going to be coming.
Yeah, and Weave does too. So I understand it now, because it sounded kind of too good to be true when you said it wasn't. But what Weave gets out of it is an opportunity to introduce itself to practices and let them do a test drive. And you know, if it's as good as it is, then they know they're going to get some people to buy it. So that's great. Yeah. Congratulations. Yep. Okay. We got time for a couple more, I think, depending on how long your answer is. With so many companies out there, why did you choose to partner with Weave?
There are a lot of companies out there that are integrated with different softwares. First of all, Weave is probably integrated with, most of them, where other ones are kind of only integrated with some of them. So they're really, they've put a lot of effort into integration, which is great. But Weave, in particular, is about communication. So it fits right along with my messaging. Some of the thoughts that we have down the road is possibly even allowing instant messaging and text messaging between offices directly, right? Pop-up text. I mean, there's a lot of cool things that can develop that are in the future of communication between doctors, and so we've really fit that in every way, and we just really complemented each other. So it was just, they really gravitated towards this idea, and it just made sense.
Well, great. That makes sense to me too, knowing what I know about you and them. And I would just want to thank you one more time, Rob. Great presentation. I'm sure our attendees feel likewise, and I'm sure you'll be hearing from them shortly. In a few days, you all will receive an email with instructions on how to receive your 1.5 hours of CE credit. And now I want to invite you to please mark your calendars for our next webcast, which will be Wednesday, May 24th at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, when our special guest presenter will be Jeff Browdy, who will deliver 50 tips to protect your practice and your reputation. The HIPAA privacy and security rules have recently upped the ante for fines relating to the security and privacy of protected health information. As a healthcare provider, you're required to prove that you have implemented administrative, technical, and physical safeguards within your practice. While navigating HIPAA law can feel overwhelming, by the end of this session, you'll learn about the top requirements and vulnerabilities surrounding HIPAA compliance and data breach protection. You'll also be sure to walk away with a handful of action items that you can immediately implement to protect your practice and your reputation. I think he'll be offering a complimentary risk assessment, which is one of the requirements to be in compliance with HIPAA regulation. So again, be sure to be available on May 24th for this important and timely presentation. Until then, this is Danny Bobrow thanking you for your continued commitment to practice perfection. And once again, thank you, Dr. Rob.
You're welcome. And next time I'll sing another song for you. All right, Danny?
Yeah, don't forget your guitar.
Thanks again, Danny. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you all. Goodbye, everybody.